Hi! On the Woodpecker today, we wanted a change of scenery, so we came to the cottage. For the past 30 years, at the end of May, we always go to the cottage. And each year I see this phenomenon. Those images were shot behind my home. As you can see, all the leaves are open on almost all the types of trees. This is what the leaves look like 150 kilometers up north. Here the buds are just opening. But another 100 kilometers further north, someone can think the leaves are there, but it's only the evergreen trees that make it look this way. All the hardwood trees only have small buds, and this is for all of the hardwood trees, maple and birch alike. If I look on the other side of the lake, it's clear that most trees don't have leaves, because it's all brown. Closer to the cottage, it's less obvious, unless you look at a particular tree. But if this phenomenon stuns me, seeing my gutter on the ground doesn't. I can only be grateful that I removed the snow around the chimney last winter, otherwise the chimney would be on the ground along with the gutter. But it's not the only thing that fell down last winter. The concrete block that holds the winch that I used to pull my boat out of the water is also down. To put it back up, I begin by cleaning the location where it should stand. Then I try to lift it up. Since I'm unable to do so, I made a setup to put it up. Before I can winch it up, a neighbor comes to help me and we put it straight in a matter of seconds. This was way easier than I imagined it would be. But what I cherish the most over there are the 2-hour walks I take every day. 2 hours of walking is so little to be able to see this scenery. In fact, this is one of my favorite spots around here. I always bring European visitors there. But it's not easy to get there. It's the reason why I don't bring the ugly rat with me. I always take her on walks when I'm on the main road without branches or any trees down. There she can get around without a problem, which is pretty amazing because 6 months ago we had to get her second eye removed. I know, she won't win any beauty contests. But looking at the temperature some mornings, it's easy to understand why there are no leaves on the trees. In the springtime, there are a lot of things to clean up around here. Not just the leaves, but also the branches that fell onto our path to the lake. So René and I picked them up. I broke them and put them in boxes to start the wood stove. I filled up 5 boxes. But this is nothing compared to what René picked up. In fact, this pile will be burned right here when the level of the lake will be very low. Not this year, obviously. But I never skip a day without taking a walk. I never get bored with those landscapes. But I also have other things to repair, like the second solar panel input, because it doesn't charge the battery. To solve the problem, I have to move those 5 displays. This is not easy, because the charger is in the way of the screws. Now I'm able to have access behind the display. But I have a big problem. Here you see, it doesn't charge. And without doing anything, now it's charging. This is the worst problem, an intermittent one. I think it's a diode because it's not as big as the other one. With my spare diodes, it's easy to see the difference in size. I switched the diode for a 70 amp one, But I still have the same problem. I wasted 7 hours that day trying to fix this, only to realize that the problem is a defective relay. Since I don't use it anymore, I jumped the connection and my problem is solved. Now it's time for another walk. And it's here that I see several trees cut by a beaver. Looking at the height of this cut, I can figure out that it was cut last winter. But there are hundreds of trees cut near the road. 50 yards away, I see the beaver. It went this way. I want to film it, so I make sure the rat won't go away. But it's quite useless, because she doesn't go far these days. But after 20 yards or so, I get to this. On the other side, it's the same. Trees down and water everywhere. But no beaver. As a consolation prize, I filmed a rough grouse. I know, this is a lame consolation prize. I wish I could have filmed the wolf that left those tracks in the sand. But I only saw the tracks. Sorry. But I can't only take walks, because we have to put the gutter back in place. This is not too hard. We just have to take our time. But I'm without an end cap. I figure a squirrel took it. It's not the first time a wild animal steals from me. This is what's left of a water hose that a beaver cut and went away with the other end. I don't know if you remember the tree that we had to cut last winter. Here it is. But since then, a lot more have fallen down. Those two fell into the forest, as you can see. But others, like this one, fell on the road. At least, it's what I imagine. You can see the sawdust and the tree freshly cut by one of my neighbors. We can't leave this nice wood there to rot. Most of the trees broke without any consequences. But not this one, because it fell right here beside our gate. Right on the chain and broke the welding I had done. Another thing to fix this summer. But we need to clean this a little. This is the wood we picked up the first time. And this is all the good wood that we found on the ground on the edge of our road. We're going to cut it this fall. I took walks every day, but I also did other things, like editing this episode. But most of all, I continued the genealogical program I've been working on for the past month. I promised that to Renee. During our stay, I was able to make all the charts that she wanted. This is actually the biggest and most complex program I ever worked on. But the most important thing is that Renee is super happy with it. 2 weeks is short. We will come back. I will leave you with some images around here. And see you soon for another episode of The Woodpecker.